home meetings. We have some mind-boggling, almost, national problems. And I have a couple of concerns that maybe go off on a tangent, and I hope I don't end up sounding paranoid. I think I'm just naive about something. I even brought some stuff from my cupboard this morning. I want to take a minute to share with you. It's about food. And an important item.
Just stated babies. I was hoping I wouldn't have to think about food anymore today.
I have to think about some water chestnuts and a few other things out of my cupboard. I don't mind getting a blouse or a purse or shoes from China. I really don't seem like it much choices. Or Thailand or Indonesia or the Philippines. That horses out of the barn, and that's the way it is. So I don't want to be an isolationist. But with food, all of a sudden the things that have happened recently, I think we were given a fair warning with dogs and cats. And China is my primary concern. I wanted to mention that naturally we've got, and we're used to the idea of apples from New Zealand and the fruits and the coffee from the South American countries. We seem to have a handle on that. But the wheat gluten coming from China kind of disturbs me. Like, why do we need wheat gluten products in the food supply coming from China? It just basically doesn't make sense. So I'm concerned about that. I can control my apples and oranges and things like that from other places, but I'm a little concerned about maybe opening a can of Campbell's soup with varied and assorted ingredients in it, and I don't know where it's really from. And I never paid much attention to that. So I looked in my cupboard this morning, and I found some pudding from Canada, and chicken of the sea tuna from Thailand. And I don't really know whether the tuna's from Thailand and it's brought over here, and chicken of the sea puts it in the package over here. I'm a little naive about that. And then there's mushrooms from India. I had no idea. Can we grow our own mushrooms? You know, I thought they were from the USA. I checked for fat and everything else, but not where it's from. And here's the biggie. What am I going to do if I'm especially worried about China? Here's no water chestnuts. Product of China. I didn't know that. So that puts me in the naive category. What can you tell me about? I'm concerned. I don't really want to eat these water chestnuts. You know, I don't want to even give them to people helping people.
Anybody want any water chestnuts?
I'm a little humorous about it, but
That's serious,
I
huh?
want you to talk to me, you know, to talk to all of us about importing things, because I really don't trust China. You know, we don't need to go what's happened in the last month. And tied on to that, since I'm talking about food, I have another personal concern that a lot of people do, and it concerns food allergens. And we mentioned children, and food allergens that are not just a little bit, but the deadly, life-threatening things that pose children. And I have a granddaughter who's now a young mother-to-be, and she's survived for 24 years with a serious milk allergy. And I want to point out the lifelong thing that the family has to do to be careful, and the trips to the emergency room when we're eating a meal and her chicken fried steak gravy has milk in it when we ask that it, you know, would be made with water. Those kind of things happen quickly and get serious real quick. So I think I've heard or read that about 10 million a year with the food, the different diseases that go to children, maybe 10 million is allotted for the food allergies. I think the peanuts and the things that are so deadly to some kids. If you can recommend or sponsor a bill where you could squeeze that amount up from the 10 million a little bit, I would appreciate it.
Is that for research or is that for enforcement?
It's research, and I don't want to say a cure, you know, but something like a medicine that if the problem is there in emergency room, give it to the child, and they won't die.
We are increasing the National Institutes of Health budget, which is the primary health research institute funded by the federal government. It does get billions of dollars, I think about $5 billion a year. I'll ask them if they're doing anything in terms of food allergies. My two sons have a little trend that we can't have peanut. He can't even smell peanuts ever, and it'll be very serious to him.
So you're aware of what the
Yes, ma'am. And on food from China.
Why do we need wheat gluten from China?
It's the first time in any town meeting I've had been asked about water chestnut. Oh, absolutely. But I would say this. I began by saying the first responsibility is the federal government is to protect our homeland. And that basically goes to the issue of protecting our security and our day-to-day lives. And while none of us in this room wants a big brother government looking over every shoulder, trying to solve every problem, and some of these issues we've got to deal with and take responsibility for ourselves. You obviously have been doing that. We do have a Food and Drug Administration. It's probably been underfunded. If we don't charge the taxpayers more, we probably ought to charge the companies more to be sure that any food imported from a foreign country is safe. And the vast majority of food is safe. Probably, if for no other reason, it wouldn't take too many outbreaks of diseases or illnesses or deaths as a result of bad imported food to cause companies in the U.S. to just stop bringing in that food.
You know, the Chinese executed within a month the director of their Food and Drug Administration.
And that would get some bureaucrats' attention here in the United States. I think we are looking into the shortages of Food and Drug Administration inspectors. But I'll tell you the interesting thing. I'm going to talk about the power of politics and political interests. As you just pointed out, better than I could, we import food from all over the world. But when we passed the prescription drug bill a couple of years ago, it was supposed to be designed to lower the drug prices for senior citizens' prescription drugs. The drug company lobbyists put in that bill a prohibition on their being able to import prescription drugs from Canada and from Mexico. One of the things we're trying to do this year is to try to change that. That wouldn't have done so much to protect the health of American seniors as it was to protect the profits of drug companies that make the pharmaceutical drug in America. And after we helped them with the research with your and my tax dollars to come up with that new drug, and then ship it to Canada and Mexico and sell it for a third of the price in those countries, they sell it to you and me for it. And so it was interesting. We didn't put any limitation on water chestnuts. China, which can't import prescription drugs from Canada.
Well, what about drugs from China? Over-the-counter things like in cold medicine or something that we can't really know about.
I believe that we ought to have Food and Drug Administration inspectors wherever we have food or prescription drugs being imported into our country. And if that means those companies have to pay for those inspectors, that's what we do with meat plants, that's what we do with turkey plants and chicken plants. They pay for part of the cost of that food inspector. Ensuring the safety of American food supply is a deadly serious issue.
Now, the tuna fish is inspected by the Department of Agriculture. We did.
Okay. So, does that make you feel better? You're okay on that. And by the way, ma'am, I did not answer your question. I apologize. The first question you asked me. Question 2 first on insurance. For someone that doesn't have children and is working, if their company doesn't provide health insurance, right now there's very little that we're doing. What's happening in the real world, I just came from Glenrose Hospital, 9% of their patient revenues each year go out and unpaid bills and charges to people who just walk in an emergency room and they don't have any health insurance, don't have a lot of resources. And America hasn't come up with a consensus yet on what we're going to do about 47 million Americans who don't have health insurance. It's closer and closer to becoming a real crisis in this country. And over the next 5 years, we better find some common sense, consensus solution to that problem.